On the broken streets of Manila, where the night lights flicker like fading dreams, a young boy's voice carried through the noise of traffic and despair. It was a voice too soulful for his age, too heavy with stories he never got to tell. People passed by, some tossing a few coins, most not even looking. But his song, Hotel California, never stopped echoing. His name was Eli, a 14-year-old boy with sunburned skin, calloused fingers, and eyes that held both pain and wonder. Every evening, he stood near an old convenience store, clutching a worn-out guitar that was missing a string. To strangers, he was just another street kid. But to himself, he was something more, a dreamer waiting to be heard. Nearby, sitting quietly on a step, was Lena, his older sister. Barely 19, she watched him sing as she counted the coins they earned that day. She was protective, gentle, and tired, the kind of tired that life forces onto those who grow up too soon. She never let Eli see her worry, never showed the hunger that ached beneath her ribs. Her smile was his hope, even when her own hope was fading. Across the ocean, in a world so different from theirs, a man known for discovering extraordinary talent was about to hear a recording that would change everything. Simon Cowell, the critic with a heart hidden behind sharp words, had no idea that a boy singing on the streets of Manila was about to touch the deepest corner of his soul. How far can one song travel? How can a voice born in poverty reach the heart of a man who has heard it all? And what happens when the world finally listens to the boy no one noticed before? The answer began on that humid night, when a broken guitar and a trembling voice started to rewrite destiny. Eli lived in a world that moved too fast for him to catch up. Every morning, he woke to the sound of jeepneys honking and street vendors shouting, his small body curled under a tattered tarpaulin beside his sister. The air always smelled of smoke and sea, a mix of survival and forgotten dreams. Yet before anything else, before hunger or tiredness, he reached for his guitar. It wasn't much, a cheap, cracked instrument left behind by a street performer years ago. But to Eli, it was his world. Each string was a thread that held his heart together. When he strummed it, the chaos around him faded, replaced by something close to peace. He had never been to school, never owned a toy, never had a bed. But he had music, and music was enough to remind him he was still alive. Eli was quiet by nature, a boy of few words but deep thoughts. His eyes carried stories no one had time to hear. Sometimes he would stare at the sky after rain, wondering if the clouds ever felt tired of moving. He didn't dream of fame, he dreamed of a day when his sister wouldn't have to beg. Of a night when they could eat without counting coins. He had small habits that kept him grounded, washing his hands with rainwater, humming songs while walking barefoot, whispering silent prayers before every performance. When he sang, it wasn't for applause. It was for his late mother, who once told him that his voice could heal sadness. Even if no one listened, he still sang for her. Inside, Eli carried a strange calmness, a quiet resilience that came from knowing life could take everything, but not his song. His voice wasn't just sound, it was emotion shaped by hunger, love, and hope. He was just a boy on the streets, yes, but in his heart, he was already on a stage, not under bright lights, but beneath the stars that always listened, even when people didn't. There came a time when Eli's songs began to fade beneath the weight of survival. His voice, once full of warmth, now trembled under exhaustion. The coins were getting fewer, the nights colder, and the streets harsher. People who once stopped to listen had stopped noticing him altogether. His music had become part of the background noise, something to be ignored, like the boy himself. Lena grew thinner, her smile forced and fading. She often skipped meals to let Eli eat, pretending she wasn't hungry. Eli noticed, of course. Every skipped meal felt like another note of guilt pressing on his chest. He wanted to help, to sing more, to earn more. But his fingers had grown sore, and the guitar strings had begun to break one by one. Then one night, a cruel twist came. As Eli and Lena returned to their small sleeping spot behind an abandoned bus, they found their belongings gone, stolen. The little money they had, the blanket Lena cherished, and even Ellie's old shoes. Everything vanished in a blink. That night, Eli didn't sing. He just sat in silence, his arms wrapped around the guitar as if holding it could keep him from falling apart. For the first time, he questioned his dream. What worth did a song have when it couldn't fill an empty stomach? Lena tried to comfort him, but even her words had lost their strength. Eli felt small, invisible, and powerless, like a melody that had lost its rhythm. The loneliness was louder than any song he could sing. Still, beneath the pain, something fragile yet stubborn remained, a flicker of faith that maybe, somehow, his voice was meant to reach beyond these streets. But how far could a broken dream really go when everything else was falling apart? That question haunted him, and it would soon lead him to the moment that changed everything. Days after losing everything, Eli almost stopped singing altogether. He sat on the same corner, his guitar resting lifelessly across his knees, while people hurried past as if the world had no time for broken songs. The once vibrant melody of Hotel California now sounded like a whisper, a ghost of what it used to be. Then, one evening, something unexpected happened. Unlike others, he didn't just pass by. He listened. The boy's trembling voice and aching tone caught something deep inside him. He recorded a short video, smiled kindly, and placed a few bills into Ellie's tin can. Eli only looked up for a second, shy and uncertain, unaware that the moment had already begun to change his life. A week later, across the ocean, that same video surfaced online. Millions watched, their hearts breaking and healing all at once. His voice, raw, unpolished, but painfully sincere, carried something no stage performance ever could: truth. Among those who saw it was Simon Cowell. Late one night, scrolling through endless clips, he paused when he heard the first line. There was something haunting about that boyish tone, something that silenced even Simon's inner critic. He watched the video twice, then again, his usual composure slipping into quiet awe. For once, he wasn't judging, he was feeling. A message reached a local radio host in Manila, and soon, an invitation made its way to the very street corner where Eli still sang for coins. Lena couldn't believe it. The name America's Got Talent written on that piece of paper felt unreal. That night, as Eli held the letter in trembling hands, tears blurred his vision. For the first time, he wasn't singing for survival. He was singing for something bigger, for a chance to be seen, to be heard, to finally let his song reach the world. In the end, Ellie's journey was never just about fame or applause, it was about being heard. The boy who once sang for coins beneath a flickering light had taught the world something powerful, that greatness is not born in comfort, but in struggle, and that the purest voices often rise from the darkest corners. When he returned home after his life-changing performance, nothing around him had truly changed. The streets were still noisy, the air still heavy. Yet, something inside him had shifted forever. Eli now walked those same alleys with quiet pride, not because he was a star, but because he had proven that even the unseen could shine. His voice had carried not just his pain, but the pain of every child who sang against hunger, every dreamer who fought to be noticed. Lena watched him with tears that were no longer from sorrow, but gratitude. The world had finally heard the boy she always believed in. She realized that miracles don't always come in golden lights or big moments. Sometimes they arrive when you refuse to stop believing, even when no one else does. Ellie's story reminded millions that talent doesn't belong to the privileged, it belongs to the brave. To those who keep singing even when no one listens. To those who turn struggle into music and pain into beauty. And somewhere in Los Angeles, Simon Cowell kept a small copy of that viral video on his desk, the one that reminded him why he began searching for voices in the first place. Because every now and then, amidst all the noise, a voice appears that reminds the world to feel again. Ellie's journey became more than a story, it became a song of hope. A reminder that sometimes all it takes is one note, one dream, and one moment of courage to turn a street corner into a stage and a forgotten voice into a miracle.